Okay, and I'll just introduce myself as Jenny Moore, cupcake eating queen at like I'm just gonna make it fun. Well, hello everybody. Thanks for joining us on our video here. I am so super excited to be speaking with one of my best friends in the fintech industry. He is a man that requires very little introduction because he is that amazing. He now is the CEO of Relay Financial. All hands together for Mr. Yoseph West. How's it going?
Good, Jenny. Great to see you. I feel entirely embarrassed by that introduction, so thank you. That feels really good. For those who don't know me, and I hope that's the majority of you, like I previously kind of was at Wave and then HubDoc, and I've kind of been around the accounting and bookkeeping community for quite some time, and just love working with advisors, and I've learned a lot in that time, and I continue to learn more, so it's good.
Awesome. Well, yes, I remember you from the HubDoc days, not so much from going way back before that, but a lot of fun. And I've always really appreciated how innovative you are, and super excited to hear more about Relay today. But before we get into that, I hear you have a certain playbook to share that can help accounting professionals like myself understand some three core pillars. So let's dive into that.
Sure. Yeah. So like the playbook is basically like growth in 2021. And we talked to a lot of like cloud accounting leaders in the US to get a sense for like, hey, how are you thinking about this year ahead? And just to step back for like 1 second, the inspiration for all of this was kind of, we reflected on what 2020 was for all of us.
Oh, let's just summarize that right now.
Right,
2020
exactly.
was
Yeah.
like
Not a great year. But like it was also a great year for reflection.
yeah.
I think we all kind of looked at our lives and like, okay, here's the stuff that I like about it. Here's the stuff I don't necessarily like about it. And here's how I want to get better. And so we kind of thought, okay, that's something everyone is feeling to some extent. And then, of course, our thought was, how do we take that emotional thread and apply it to accounting and bookkeeping? Of course, what else would we do? Let's ask firm owners, what they learned over the course of the year, and how does that get reflected into 2021? And so we put together this playbook both as a reflection on this, crazy year that we've all had, and hopefully it's getting less crazy as we go into 2021. I don't know. Yeah, like, but what did they learn, and what are they doing in 2021 to make this year the best year ever, right? Or at least a better year than last year.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, and so there, as you mentioned, there were like a few core pillars, and people, process, technology were kind of the three. I think the theme that came out from all of these conversations was how important like people are, and they everything from kind of leaning in to your clients' businesses and being their quote unquote like financial therapist was often the term as all the craziness unfolded last year, to seeing how resilient their team was. It came up time and again. It's like, hey, I thought I had a good team before, but now I really understand how great my people are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had that same experience, like going through, well, we're still in the pandemic, but
Yeah, hearts is something that you need, right? Like a lot of people say, like technology is great and technology is a tool. It's not a replacement. We still need the human mind. We still need the passion of the heart. And we found that really deep in 2020. 2020, it was hard. Like it really was a kick in the pants. It really was. And it forced a lot of accounting professionals, including myself, as being the founder and owner of More Details Inc., to really take a look at what the heck we're doing. And I gotta be honest with you, I came in 2020 a little sassy into COVID, like, yeah, I got this nailed. Yeah, I got my workflows. Yeah, I'm on the cloud. Um, you know what? And people wise, like we lost a key person. So like having to navigate during COVID, finding talent, really leaning in and finding the right people. Like people really are the the heart of the organization, right? Because communication and money are the two breakdowns in any relationship. And folks, as accounting pros, we're dealing with both. Communication, you need hearts, you need people. And so we've been really, lucky being able to find some great talent And our clients have been really patient with us too. And it's really something we're striving towards with 2021. We felt a lot of friction in 2020, like far more than I wanted to. A lot of sleepless nights, and I'm not preaching to the choir here and looking for any virtual hugs, although I'll take them. You know, that amount of friction and anxiety really helped me understand what needed to happen to grow and what needed to happen to be fixed. So yeah, people, pillar number one.
Yeah, pillar number
People,
one, people, number one
people.
aspect. But I think to touch on your point about hiring and how it's like it's such a tight market as well,
Mm,
right? Even though we've got like mass unemployment, but it's only affecting certain segments of
yeah,
kind of the economy, unfortunately, right?
yeah,
Well, unfortunately and unfortunately, it's kind of messed up, right? And in the accounting and bookkeeping community, like what we saw is a lot of firms are trying to figure out like what is their unique strength that would enable them to hire the right type of people for their firm. And so Hector, like we had a lot of amazing kind of cloud accounting leaders that shared their insights. And the only reason I get to sit here and sound, semi-smart is really because of them. But Hector Garcia shared this wonderful kind of tidbit that he's like, hey, what I'm really good at and what our firm is really good at is training. We're good at teaching people. And so to me, I don't care if the person has the skills, as long as they have the right attitude, the right work ethic, and they really just want to learn, I
yeah.
can get them there. And that's how he's been able to like continue to grow his firm through this period of time while we have like still like a very tight kind of talent market in the accounting and bookkeeping community.
Yeah, that's it. Like you can't teach enthusiasm. It has to be brought to the table, right? You can't teach curiosity. It has to be brought. And finding those people, and if you're in that training spectrum, it's really it's easy to be able to help the person know what's expected of them, right? And document,
Doc-
which may lead us into something else. That was maybe a segue, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. The documentation is like a great bullet on the process side.
Yeah.
Um, like the other two quick ones on the people side were
Hmm.
like really investing in upskilling your team.
Hmm.
So a lot of people were like, okay, I thought I had a good team before, but now I really understand I have a good team. And then how do I make them even better this
Hmm.
year? Is it skills courses? Is it doing team trainings, lunch and learns, whatever it is?
Hmm.
And so they're really focused on helping people kind of get to that next stage because they
Hmm.
just believe that, again, going back to that tight talent market, perhaps the way to get the most value out of their current team and solve most problems is to actually invest in their people, which seems like common sense advice, but I'm going to sound cheesy. Common sense, I guess, isn't so common, right? Uh,
It's true.
um, it's hard. It's all
Yeah.
hard, right? Like when you're running a business, it's just challenging.
Yeah. And I think the other thing it did for practice owners or for anybody in a role where they have people that are reporting to them is it really forced us 2020 and beyond the advocacy of mental health as well, right? Like the checking in, like finding the technology and things like that. That was really, it's really important as well to be able to create those stronger relationships with your people. And it's sort of taken away those barriers of personal and business, right? And the silo in between. It was like, no, 2020 just totally took that silo out in the windstorm. And it's like, listen, hey girl, how you doing? Right. Or it was like, dude, what's it like upstairs? Are you okay? Like that's what 2021 has done. And I think it's important when you look at people that it's not just about what business life is like, but really taking care of them from that personal side. That if they need a day off, give them the day off because they're going to give you two in return, right? Like they're going to be so much more productive giving you two in return.
100%. The notion of like treating people with kindness is like
Yeah.
especially like
Total Harry Styles. Exactly. Right. Treat people with kindness. I love
and
Harry Styles, by the way.
yeah, yeah.
I do.
I think I know like I'm not even I'm getting to that age where I'm like I don't know. You have daughters. So
Disagree. I have
probably, yeah,
daughters. I have teenage
yeah,
daughters. So that's what
yeah.
makes me cool.
Um, and then the third part, like to your point of like just connecting with people and seeing how they're doing,
Yeah.
we see a lot of firms experimenting with different ways to make the team feel connected.
Hmm.
So like, our friends at Live CA might have taken everyone to a bear lodge,
Hmm.
12 months ago and like made an amazing video that we all get to enjoy
Hmm.
and live vicariously. But like now, what are your options? Like, and we saw firms like trying like virtual escape rooms, which we actually tried as a company.
Did you?
Uh, yeah, it was so weird and fun at the same
Was
time.
it?
Yeah, it was very yeah.
I have not done an escape room, and I'm secretly, not so secretly now, afraid to do it. I don't know. I think I might just like,
Yeah, so the escape room experience, like in real life, is like,
yeah,
it's okay. I've done one. It's fine.
okay,
Um, the virtual escape room is you have like all the little tiles of your team, and then there's one tile which is a guy in the escape room that you
okay.
are telling what to do.
Oh
Yeah,
man, big brother move. Okay.
it was fun. It was genuinely fun. But like people are trying this stuff, right? Like they're trying to
That's
see like,
awesome. And it's
yeah,
great
like
for the people who own the escape rooms because it's still bringing in revenue for that organization. That's a brilliant idea.
yeah,
Thinking outside of the box, right?
100%. And like for us, it was like great way for the team to bond and
Yeah.
also see who might be an escape room savant, which it turned out we had one amongst us. She just like, it was unbelievable. It,
Oh,
it was, it was, who knows, right?
right?
Um,
Exactly. You don't know what you're going to find, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So
okay. Process.
process,
Let's get
pillar
to
number
it.
2, process.
Documentation,
Yeah.
documentation, just like standardizing processes, like getting everyone on the same page, making sure everyone's doing things the same way. It just came up time and again. Obviously, everyone's talking to each other and being like, "Yeah, I'm documenting everything." Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, yeah, having a lot of chats myself. Like people, what I love about our industry is, you know what, we're all in this together and we're all learning together, right? Like stuff's changing so quickly that there isn't this such thing as an expert or a guru anymore. Like we're all equal playing ground. And a lot of accounting pros, we've been having little conversations here and there and asking about, what's failed? Like, this employee didn't turn out or something, right? Like we had to get rid of them. It didn't work out. I'm like, okay. So like, what do you think went wrong? Right? Takes two. Well, it turns to boil down into, not hiring the first one, which we talked about people. What's the second one? Process, not writing stuff out. So, when it comes to your workflows, it's really important to be able to give the recipe of how you want the work done because your workflow force, probably the majority of them are not psychic, right? So if you're expecting that work to be done in a certain caliber that your clients are expecting to have things done and filed on time, it's really important to document them, whether video, audio, writing it out, whatever the case is. But I'm a big preacher for that. And anytime you feel a little bit of friction, whether it's a client not happy or you're not happy or your employee's not happy, your workflow screwed up. Go back to your workflow. Okay, I'm done my rant. Over to
it's
you,
true
Yusuf.
though, right? It's true, right? Like I
Yeah.
think, in a year where there a lot changed that was out of our control, there's still a lot that is in our control,
Yep.
right? And to your point, like when something goes wrong, the best thing you can do is actually reflect
Yep.
and look at, hey, what can I do better? And apparently the answer is document.
That's right. So, but it's true, right? Like you have to document and set expectations. It was funny. I put out a tweet there not too long ago. We're carbon users for our workflow management, and I was shredding some old paper. Could you believe it? I had paper. I don't know. I've picked on you in the past for paper. I know I have, but I had paper. I had an old filing box, paper. And in it was my workflow, my checklist, my little paper checklist of what I would do each month. And I put it out there on Twitter because I was like, you know what? Why not? And it was something that helped at the time, but it wasn't scalable, right? I couldn't imagine that paper checklist right now with a virtual team. Like, what would I do? FedEx it to them? Like, I don't know. Like, really important. Virtual workflows, super important. Virtual processes, super important. When in doubt, write it out.
100%. But like that comes to the next point. This is all like threading together. Oh my God. I don't know what this is, but
That's
apparently,
okay. I'm going with it. Let's
yeah.
go. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Is investing in like scalable client communication,
Mhm.
right? Is finding ways to make conversations really easy. We heard about advisors creating like Slack channels or Slack
Yep.
communities for their clients.
Mhm.
So they'd be able to like have real-time conversations,
Mhm.
or using something like Lisio that enables kind of more real-time messaging in a secure manner.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's really cool to see kind of that evolution of like the communication even is like not quite automated, but perhaps centralized.
Yeah.
and made more
For
efficient.
sure. We're big Slack users. I like to call us slackers. We are we do. We love Slack. It works out well. We've introduced our clients to it. And even with the growth that we've had with our new clients that have been somewhat adverse, we really draw back to, okay, how was that relationship not working before for you with your prior provider? Was it communication? Yes. Okay. So this is how we solve it with Slack. So get uncomfortable right now learning Slack, and because this is how we're going to solve this, right?
Mhm.
And we've had some great response with Slack, and working with teams, and yes, they're a little raw to getting started, and but some of them are like addicted. It's like, okay, I want to be on. It's like the next, I don't know what it is, like Candy Crush to them. I don't know, like we're making bookkeeping that fun that they can't wait for a Slack message from at Jenny Moore. Like it's great. But communication's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, right? Like feeling part of the process where
Mhm.
it's not an email is like is really nice.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you got to take stuff out, maybe put it in email. When I'm tempted to write a long-winded email, you know what I still do? Pick up that old phone, give them a call or a Zoom call, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, as someone that works with an advisor, like that is 100% better,
yeah,
right? Because it's like, oh, I've got to read this email. I've got to parse out each of the items that I know it's worked for me, right?
yeah,
If you just call me, like we can knock it out like pretty quickly.
exactly. Long email should come from lawyers, not from your accountant.
I just like that we're sandbagging lawyers
Yeah,
as
exactly. And
yeah.
I'm not sorry, lawyers, even though I'm Canadian, I am not sorry.
Um, and then on the process side, like to your point about giving people mental health days, is like just enabling people to like balance their workload. I know for a lot of leading firms, everyone's remote already, but for even if you are remote, a lot of your life has gone from not remote or
Yeah,
sorry, not remote to remote, right? Like
yeah,
kids being home and having them doing virtual schooling and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, and so we heard about a lot of firms trying to give people room and time, and being able to raise their hand for that mental health day, big time.
Yeah, it's really important. I know we've gone from remote to chaos. Uh, yeah, all three kids went back to school today, so a little bit of yay. But I mean, they're looking forward to it as well within our region. And luckily, we are safe to do that. So I do not take that for granted. But I cannot emphasize enough what that chaos has been like, right? So it's really important setting expectations not only with our clients but with our internal team, even at home. Like, hey, kids, mom's putting in a frozen dinner tonight. Like we're like like let's set realistic expectations, things like that, super important. So yeah, people and process. Super
Nice.
important.
Well, let's talk about the PPT. Let's cover the
Yeah,
T, the
yeah.
technology.
Technology,
Um,
pillar number 3, technology.
So, I mean, I think this theme has kind of just run through over the course of the last like 7 years, right? It's like automation, automation, automation. And so we've seen just more and more firms looking for like new opportunities. Maybe it's finally kind of, wanting to automate accounts payable for their clients and manage bill pay, and finding a solution for that, or looking for kind of like process checklists that they're actually like automating as opposed to just having it like in a Google Doc. And so we're seeing people like just try and find what are those additional 10%, 5% gains they can get, in terms of service delivery, which I think is really cool, and trying new things like recommending a bank, which they didn't really have much option to do previously.
Yeah, right. Totally. Yeah, I got it. And that was totally not a plug. And by the way, this is not scripted whatsoever because Joseph totally knows that he can't give me a script because I won't follow it anyways. Um, got something to say about that. I do. Can I have a little bit of like
Yeah, go for it.
spotlight to talk
Yeah,
about?
please, please.
Okay, so
I'll just roll back here.
let's
I'll
just roll
just
back and let the sale happen. No, I'm joking. So recently, as everyone knows, that I have my own practice and we're expanding into the US, which is super awesome and scary at the same time because of the banking situation. And with this great new amazing client, we were running into some major roadblocks when it came to banking. One, employees wanted to get paid. Go figure. I mean, I don't think that's overly demanding, right? I think it's kind of important to pay your people. right? But the platform was failing, the technology was failing behind that. So we were getting, some massive runaround with US banks to get that set up. Everything was organized. We needed to orchestrate and position ourselves a lot quicker to pay these employees. And big shout out to Tim Miron. I know you're probably at some point going to see this video. You know, I love you in a total fintech way. So we've been working together with this client, and it just popped in my head. Hey, try Relay. I trust Yoseph West, like you wouldn't believe. I trust him. He's got to be able to make a good product because I trust the guy. So just figure it out. Just go have a look. I'm too busy right now to dive too much into it. Sorry, Yosef, I was.
Yeah.
I really am. Can you just go check it out? Long story short, that was like, a couple of days later, what do I get an email as an invitation for access to Relay Financial for this client like that. Now, I don't know about the rest of you guys when you're dealing with banks and getting delegate cards and access cards, but that is the quickest I've ever seen myself getting access in the most pain-free way for my clients. And now we're positioned to run payroll and get these families paid because it really is hand to mouth. It really, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like money, like they need to pay their mortgage, they need to buy groceries. And to give you the offset of that, that was Wednesday, folks. Wednesday of last week is when I finally got, when Relay gave me this access. But this is what happened Thursday. Thursday, I spent 8 hours. I kid you not, 8 hours during COVID with a child in a bank, two separate banks, trying to get two access cards and trying to explain to a teller exactly what I need. This is with them having prior notice. This is me having full authorization from the client. They have all the paperwork. They're actually trying to figure out the freaking card. 8 hours is what I spent trying to get read-only access for two banks. And Relay Financial did it in like 15 minutes. So I am your biggest advocate. I'm sold. I'm sold.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So good. So good.
Yeah. So like technology is so important, right? Like our business owners are way too busy and have far more problems than to worry about their banks, right? The bank should have their backs, not the other way around, right? So this is important.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole goal, right? It's like banks have traditionally been like a tax on small business.
Yes. They've literally, I've seen them hinder, but in this case, it would have been payroll. Payroll. Hinder the livelihood of individuals, hindering the access to information for the accounting professional to give data back to the client on can they continue to keep their employees on payroll or should they lay them off? Can they expand? Like this is information the client should own to make sound decisions. And it is so cumbersome right now with current traditional banking styles to do that effectively. And the clients need that. The last thing I want to say to a client is, sorry, the bank statement isn't available yet. Right? Like it's not a valid excuse anymore.
Yeah. Like that idea of like access to information is like the limiting factor on like financial visibility is candidly, it's just like why we started this. We saw this live at HubDoc, right? Like firms like yours would pay us anywhere from a few $100 a month to $5,000, $10,000 a month to literally just download bank statement PDFs, right? And then we had our partners Intuit and Xero, and like both of them had huge bank feed issues. Bank feeds didn't work. They still don't work. And so when we thought about it, it's like, how do you actually solve this? Like the banks, there are good people at the banks that probably want to find a way to solve it. It's just, it's not a priority for them. And so we realized the only way to actually solve it is to be the bank. And that's how it came to be.
I love that story of passion. It is so true because you felt it from the ground up on the customer service lines, in the marketing. You've heard that from the ground up why this is important. Access to good, clean data, right? Because we're not doing this anymore unless you're playing the piano. We're not doing data entry anymore. We're doing data flow. I have no idea why I'm using my hands, but it's working. Right? Oh, I love that that's your passion, right? So let's talk a little bit more. So how can Relay Financial, I mean, obviously I laid it on there pretty thick from my own personal experience, but let's get to know Relay a bit more. active now in the US, you have other ambitions, but can we pop the hood? Like, can we
Yeah,
actually get a little taste of what Relay does for
absolutely.
business owners and clients like I have? Because you guys truly did blow my mind.
Yeah, sure. So, like Relay, like we can jump into product.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's do it.
yeah. So I mean, Relay is like banking designed for growing businesses. I think that's the first thing to know. We make collaboration really easy with like a user permission model, so you can get read-only access really easily. You can manage all your bills from your bank account. Think like banking plus bill.com or banking plus Pluto. So it's pretty sweet. And you can manage all your business expenses using Relay cards. And we do this in conjunction with a bank in the US called Evolve Bank and Trust. They've been around since like 1925. They have $500 million in assets. It's through them that all of our accounts are FDIC insured up to 250K. It's really cool. And the reason why advisors like yourself love Relay is basically three things. One, we give you a partner portal, just like you would have in Zero HQ or QBOA. Two, we actually give you a direct bank feed into the accounting system. So we have like a best in class integration where it's like super reliable. Data comes through like in a really nice way. So you get like the pay in the payee field, like revolutionary stuff, I know. And then three is we actually enrich the data that's coming through. So when a check is deposited on Relay, you actually get the payer's name, the amount, the date, the memo.
Wait a minute. I didn't know that. Really? Learning
Yeah.
something new. Sorry.
So like I'll show you an example of kind of how it looks and how it works. But this is the partner portal. So we are collectively Sean McGuire here of Zero Bookkeeping. We have our list of clients available here. We can manage staff access to client accounts. So I have Gerald, and I can actually provision access to a client's account, right? So like to compare your experience of that 8-hour wait time to this, where you can ramp up access or ramp down access at the click of a button. It's night and day. And the nice thing is, if you're actually touching client money, there's an audit trail attached. So anytime someone even just does a transfer between two Relay checking accounts for the same business, you'll actually see that it was Gerald that initiated that transfer. And so the goal of all of this is to make financial visibility really, really easy. Cool. And so, Jenny, as you did, you can invite a client. You just pop in their email address. Lots of folks actually use like an email alias to sign up on behalf of their client and get the account going. So
That's
they'll
a good
do,
tidbit. That's a good
right?
tidbit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because oftentimes you have a lot of that documentation ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, the client might just need to share their driver's license or something like that that we might be missing. And so it makes it really easy to kind of onboard the client and take the work out of their hands. And, the quote we hear is like, I look like a superstar because I set this up. Cool. So we talked a lot about kind of the access piece in terms of solving those pain points. And then I think the other piece that we experienced a lot at HubDoc was like the quality of information, right? Like people wanted check images, they wanted e-transfer slips, they wanted this information. And so, since Relay is entirely focused on the US today, we are hoping to go live in Canada soon. But, we're kind of just, praying at this point. Coming back to the quality challenge, when a check is deposited inside of Relay, this is what it looks like. So you actually get the payer's name, the
Oh,
amount, the
wow.
date, who deposited it, any notes associated with it, as well as an image of the check. We pass all of this information minus the image into your accounting system.
Nice. Isn't that holistic? Like, there's no more like, oh, what does this deposit relate to? Can you go look at your deposit book? You can actually put in a note that it was invoice 421. That's mind-boggling. Wow. Absolutely incredible. And I love how you're able to pull the image as well. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Good job.
And the other cool thing is we get category data on each card transaction. So, if we basically get a 4 or 5 digit code from MasterCard, we push that into our own categorization engine and then spit out, Facebook as advertising services. And we actually pass this information across into the bank feed. So you'll actually see this in Zero, where you'll see not only which card was used and any information related to the card, you'll see the category, you'll see the name of the vendor, obviously the amount, the date, and it'll actually be all broken out in a really cool way. And what we'd say about the category information is that in 80% of cases, it kind of doesn't matter, right? Like Facebook, advertising, Uber, travel, right? But in the 20% of cases where it's a gas station in the Midwest that you have no idea what it is, you got to do the Google search, you got to ping the client, you got to do all that stuff.
That's
Super helpful.
huge for us as data processors. Like when obviously we're big fans of HubDoc, right? Like we are, we use, Mr. Google to go and look at data to find out, what is the address? Does that make sense that that small little piece of information that came through the bank feed, is it that vendor, and trying to retrace it back? So that actually is quite an involved process for accounting professionals that are processing data. I love that you're doing that.
Yeah. Like that just comes back to what our background is, right? Like what we know and who we're trying to serve, and it's really advisors and their clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what are we looking at right now? Is this sort of like a dashboard where you can have several bank accounts set up? This is
Exactly, yeah. So we're in the small business view, and these are separate bank accounts that you can name whatever you want to name them. And some people have one account, some people have like 16. You can have up to 20 checking accounts with no account fees, no minimum balance. So a lot of people like it for segregation of funds. They can have an account for payroll, they can have an account for taxes, however they're setting up their business. Yeah.
I like that. So up to 20 is pretty impressive, right? And if you're getting that good, clean data from the bank feed and using the source documents with it, it's going to create that real-time data that clients are always looking for. And usually that culprit in the mix, that little devil in the details, has been that bank feed. So I'm really excited to get started with this with my latest client.
It's like you'll be really happy.
Yeah.
You'll be very happy. And then you can download statements really easily. You can just like download them. You can actually even email them. And you can leverage your HubDoc or Receipt Bank email intake address to automatically forward statements into those solutions.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? I did see the statement feature when I was looking at it for the client. So talk to me a little bit about the CSV, because that one has me interested a little bit. So if we
Yeah.
were doing like a client cleanup file or something, right? We could take that and export it into perhaps our accounting system and clean up their work.
100%. Yep.
Nice. I like that a lot. So you've really thought holistically from the accounting professional's point of view, or what are some of the tools we need while keeping it simple for the business owner? I like that.
Exactly. Cool. And then you can pull funds across really easy. So we connect to 100% of US banks. You can pull funds in one business day, basically. So it's really quick, really snappy. And we make this available for accountants and bookkeepers and their clients because it's just a high trust relationship. And so what you might see other providers do is they're less willing to take on kind of the ACH risk, which is what it is. And why you might see processing times that are 3 business days or 5 business days. But because we are so dedicated to the channel, we make it really quick and really snappy.
Nice.
And of course, you can just send funds in from your external bank, which is I think what your client did as well.
Yeah, I think so as well. Now, can funds also be trickled in? Like if we were to think about a different type of merchant accounts or anything like that, how talk to us a little bit more about how we can get ways for funds to get into Relay.
Yeah, so there's the the method here
Adding.
where you link up an account and would pull the funds on your behalf. You could go to your say Bank of America account and add your Relay account number and routing number, right? And then just send the funds across. You can do that by wire, ACH, carrier pigeon, obviously not. But you get the idea. You can deposit checks using our mobile app. And the daily deposit limit is $40,000 a day.
Okay.
So it's like pretty high. Most banks do like 5 to 10,000 max per month, let alone per day. And then in terms of like merchant accounts, yeah, you just link up your Relay account to your Shopify, to your whatever you're using.
That's where I didn't want to lead you in, but that's what I was looking for.
Right. It's so easy. It's so easy.
Okay.
They're also connected to like the Plaid Direct network, so
Hmm.
you can look up Relay just like Wells Fargo, and
Hmm.
just put in your login credentials, select the account you want to link to your, I don't know, your like WagePoint or your Gusto or whatever it is,
Hmm.
and it's really easy.
Oh, wow. So that's the holistic approach that we're really looking forward to. In fact, I was speaking with another client. Now, this one is Canadian, so I told them they had to be patient, but just being able to have the read-only access was huge for them, as well as we're dealing with multiple e-commerce solutions for this one venture capitalist organization. Being able to bring all of that into a single place of truth, right? Like having, and when we see that we can have up to 20 accounts, well, it's like, okay, well, then that e-commerce revenue stream can go into this account, this account, this account, this account. And I really like that idea. So I'm going to be totally giddy when you guys get your Canadian digs going.
Um, cool. And then you can issue MasterCard debit cards, and they can be physical cards, they can be virtual cards. You can set up limits. You can nickname them. So you can have a card for, I think we work with Jeffrey Guilano, if you remember Jeff. And
I
so he has
do.
obviously issued himself a test card here that he's nicknamed it. And so you can even have a card for marketing expenses, right? And that nickname will actually come through on the bank feed. And so if you're looking for a better way to do attribution of spending or categorization,
Oh,
you
that's
say, oh, this
brilliant.
is an expense for like the marketing team, you have this nickname that you can rely on.
You know where I can see that being really handy right now is delivery trucks. So if you have a fleet of drivers and they each have their own card and you want to make sure it's allocated to a specific vehicle, or that it isn't included in like the management vehicle that's being used, right? So being able to put it as a cost of goods sold as opposed to a management fuel charge, that is a great way to be able to nickname the cards. I like that. Tell us a little bit more about cards and what that activation is like.
Yeah, so you can issue cards as a physical card, which will mail out to you. And then you just put in the last four digits on the card inside of Relay. You set a PIN. Really easy. You don't have to talk to anyone, which is kind of nice.
Isn't that
Uh,
nice? Okay. And it's like a real card, right? It's
card.
a credit card. It's
Yeah.
use it the same way you would expect to use it, like you were with any other card. I
Yeah.
love that.
You can add it to your Apple Wallet, your Google Pay. It's really easy. It's really nice.
Nice. What I like about this holistic approach is traditionally myself, when I finally spend 8 hours at a bank to get that access card, and I'm not looking for, I am looking for another virtual hug. Somebody give me a virtual hug on this because I'm emotionally scarred from wasting 8 hours of my life in two banks. But after finally getting the plastic card with the banks linked to it, guess what was not linked? The credit cards. So I think having that holistic approach to be able to give somebody read-only access I would presume on a global level. I presume like as a bookkeeper, I would be able to have access to the cards, not to spend, but to see the transaction history. Am I,
Mhm.
I'm presuming so, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So like this is this is a pain point, or at least for us here in Canada, that's a huge pain point for us to be able to get an access card that has that holistic financial story together.
100%. Um, and not only can you have it as a physical card, you can also issue like virtual cards, which work basically exactly the same. You just don't get a piece of plastic.
Most
Yeah,
of it's online nowadays, isn't it, right? Most shopping.
exactly. Right. Um,
Oh,
so
wow. I
pretty
really like
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then once you set it up, oh, that's actually a virtual card. Let me just find a physical card. And so you can change the nickname, you can change the limits,
Ooh,
you
I
can
like
freeze
that
it.
idea.
Yeah, you can change the pin. It's all really easy.
Or freeze it. I
Yeah,
like that. I like that. So you actually have real-time access to who has access to your corporate funds, right? I
bingo.
think that that's a great idea. I even like that little button there, allow foreign transactions. I really like that. You've really thought of all the other little quirks that, a business owner worries about. Now, you showed me statements on the Canadian or on the, sorry, pardon me. You can tell I want you in Canada. Sorry. On the bank side, you showed me statements. Is there
Yeah.
something kind of similar where we can get some sort of statement or at least data on the card side? How does that
So
work?
Yeah, so since they're debit cards, they are linked to a bank account.
Gotcha. Makes
And then
sense.
each bank account comes through on the bank feed and has the statement. The nice
Perfect.
thing is that as those bank feed transactions come through, you can see which card was used.
Nice.
Actually, like when you hook up this, I know this client, I don't know what the entire purpose of the client on Relay is, but if they start using the card, you'll start to see those transactions come through. And I promise you, you'll be very happy. Uh,
Nice. I'm really excited. Never thought
um,
I'd say this. I'm really excited for my client to start spending money just so I can see how the bank feeds work with Relay into
yeah,
Zero.
like Zero has told us that we have the best bank feed they have. Like it is that good and thoughtful.
I'm going to
Uh,
hold them to that. I'm going to test it. You know me. I'm going to tell you. Awesome.
nice.
Okay,
Um,
tell me a bit more.
yeah, and so the other really cool thing is Relay. Like we fundamentally believe that bills should be paid from the bank. It's just that most banks suck at online bill pay, right?
Tell me how it
Um,
really is, Yusuf.
sorry, am I not holding? Am I holding
You're
back too
holding
much?
back a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it might be, yeah, anyways. Okay, so what we've done is we built an integration into the accounting system, whether that's Xero or QuickBooks Online, where we automatically pull in unpaid bills.
Nice.
Um, so we centralize them all.
Okay.
And then you have approval workflows, and there's like multi-stage approval workflows uh, to actually approve the bills and then pay them.
I love
Um,
it.
so what it looks like is you have this bill here from custom headwear boxes for $1,500. You can see all the bill details. I can actually go ahead and view the bill in Xero if I want to, like just see the transaction and anything else that's there. But I also have the supporting documentation here.
Nice. Oh, wow. Complete transparency. So would this also populate? Okay, you said multi approver levels.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking in my mind, like as an accounting professional, what we get asked to do is to set up payables. Now, we don't want to actually spend the money. We don't want to do that, but we would like to set up the payments for the customer for them to approve. Could that be a potential workflow with Relay?
100%. So let's say I'm the bookkeeper. Well, I am the bookkeeper in this case. I'm Sean
Hmm.
McGuire of
Hmm.
Zero Bookkeeping, and I actually don't have approval to pay this bill. Right? There's an approval
Okay.
rule that applies, and so this green button says submit for approval instead of like initiate payment. And so I submit it for approval, and then here's what it looks like on my end. So I actually see that I'm awaiting approval. I can't pay it until Henry here actually approves this bill. And if Henry's taking his time, I can send a reminder
Nice.
and get him going. Uh, and then once the bill is actually approved, there we go. This is what it looks like. So I can see that that the bill is now unpaid, and then I can go ahead and initiate the payment. So there would be steps in the middle where Henry would have approved the bill, and then I can go ahead and initiate the payment based on the cash flow for the client.
Nice. Nice. I love that. How does that work from a notification standpoint? So us as accounting professionals, like I don't know about you, but I'm like NASA right now. I got like three screens, right? But
Mhm.
my clients, they're looking at this. Right? Like how does that notification process take place where it's like Jenny wants to spend $30,000. Not a big surprise for some of my clients. Will you have a look at this? Do you approve it? But they may not be at NASA control here. They may be looking at here. What does that kind of look like to them?
Yeah, so they'll receive an email just saying, hey, Jenny would like to pay this bill. And then they can approve it. Yes, they can approve it on the desktop. They can also approve it on their iPhone or Android device
Nice.
using our mobile apps.
Oh, you do
Uh,
have a mobile app.
yeah, we
Nice.
do.
Go figure. I love it because as my business owners, like they're already submitting their documents using HubDoc mobile app. For them, it's like they want that continuous workflow. Like whether it's QuickBooks Online or Zero, they're looking at it on their mobile device. Obviously, it's limited. They want to do everything from here, right? Some of my Zoom calls are even from these devices, right? So I think it's really important that we make money portable. in a way that makes the information available to be approved easily. So I love that you have an app. I'm going to be downloading it right away. I think it's super cool, and that you've really thought holistically about that end user.
Yeah. And the other cool thing is, I think everyone wants to see digital payments, but sometimes it's hard, right? You might not have someone's banking details.
Hmm.
And so, what we make easy here is I could actually request payment information from this vendor.
No.
Yeah.
Really? How?
Hmm.
Okay, walk me through this because this is exciting. So I don't, and that's a common thing with our
Yeah,
payables process. Guess what we're spending a lot more of our time doing? Contacting the vendor and getting a void check, right?
of
Which
course.
is kind of silly
Yeah.
because we're trying to go paperless and we're asking for a void check. Hilarious. Okay, so tell me what this would be like. So I'm
Yeah.
taking that conversation out.
Perfect. So we have web design agency who's our vendor that we want to pay. So instead of calling them up and trying to get a void check and going through that process, all you're doing is you're saying, okay, we're starting an ACH payment, like an electronic transfer equivalent in the US
Hmm.
for a web design agency. And our system will see, oh, we actually don't have payment details for a web design agency. So if we did have those available to us, we could enter them.
Okay.
But in this case, we don't. So we're just going to check this box that says request payment
Oh, it
information.
changed. Okay.
Yeah, right. So you can see it goes from
Hmm.
kind of you providing information to not. And so I
Hmm.
can say, okay, here's the phone number of theirs, and we already have their email address here.
Hmm.
And then we send a note. Hey, Jane, need bank details
Hmm.
details
No worries.
to, yeah, to pay invoice 19, whatever it is. And then we can actually require a W-9
Nice.
to be uploaded as part of that if that's required. And then we'll say the reason for payment, invoice 19, and we choose the account where we want the funds to come from. And then once we confirm this payment, we
Hmm.
send out an email to Jane at Web Design Agency saying, hey, Henry's Hat Hut here wants to pay you $2,250. Please add your payment details here.
You just solved a huge problem for me. This
Yeah.
exact client that we just put on for the payroll component, the other side of it is their agency side where they have subcontractors where we need to do
Mhm.
mass payments, but we don't have their banking information all the time. Maybe a new
Yeah.
subcontractor, a new photographer being used. That is massive. And what it's nice is you're putting the liability on the person to ensure they're putting their banking information in correctly as opposed to someone else, right? So that is incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just taking a moment here. I'll be back in a minute. Okay. Okay,
Nice.
wow, that is pretty cool. How does okay, so another if I'm not going to ask you, someone else will from our
Yeah.
industry. So that's great. In my perfect workflow, what happens is again, I'm a big fan of HubDoc. So the invoice gets captured through HubDoc, it's posted into Zero, let's say. You're pulling that across into Relay, you're paying it, but how does that get recorded back into Zero as being paid? Or what kind of happens there? What does that kind of workflow
Oh my God.
look
It's
like?
it's so it's so good. That's what I'll tell you. I can't stress this enough. So one of the things, like the benefits of your bank paying your bills,
Hmm.
is not only like best in class payment times, right? We
Hmm.
can do like next day payments or same day payments. It's not a
Wow.
3 to 5 business day window. Um, but also on the back office side, you don't have the notion of like a clearing account in Relay's case.
I'm smiling.
So the way it works is, let's just find
I
that
love
bill that we
that.
want to
One
pay.
less account to reconcile accounting professionals. And for your small
Yeah.
business owners out there that don't understand that, it's just more work for us, which means a higher rate. Okay, so this is good.
So all you do is, let's say we initiate a payment here,
Mhm.
and we pay web design agency, right? So Jane receives that email, fills in her details, and the payment goes out for $2,250. The
Mhm.
status on this bill goes from unpaid to payment in progress. And
Okay.
then we go into Zero and we mark the bill as paid. And then once the ACH is settled on the Relay side, we send across a bank fee transaction that just matches up against that paid bill. And
Got
all
it.
you have to do to reconcile is just click OK and you're done.
I love it. What is a big win for me is the mobile app. That's huge. Ability to use credit cards, that's massive. And having that holistic viewpoint on all the financial instruments. Being able to invite your accounting professional as a collaborator or read-only access, delegate card, whatever you want to call it, but giving them the access to the data, that's huge. The workflow being able to sync back into your main financial management system, whether it's QBO or Xero, that's awesome. That is really holistic thinking there.
And that's basically Relay.
I love it. No more demo required. So I love it. No, seriously, like that idea of being able to send, the ACH requests to business owners to get paid, I think is massive. And I saw a couple other cute things there, like check and stuff like that as well. And I think that that's neat to always have options. I myself would love to be able to do that. And what's great is that you'd be eliminating another app that would be required, right? Like you're streamlining the financial data into one holistic approach as opposed to leveraging more than one app, right? A banking app, a payment app, all this stuff. You're bringing that workflow together, which makes it super amazing for us as accounting professionals. Because I get app overload. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do. I get fatigued, and then I have to eat a cupcake, and my blood sugar goes up, and then I get a little bit more energy, and then I'm at it again. But yeah. Well, I want to thank you for your time today. So what are next steps? What should people do to check out how to solve their banking mayhem with Relay
Yeah.
Financial? How can they
Perfect.
make their lives easier right now?
Perfect. Go to relayfi.com, hit the accountants and bookkeepers link right at the top, and you go ahead and register for our partner program, which is pretty sweet. And then if you'd like to learn more about that playbook that we talked about earlier, there'll be a URL here, or here, I don't know, somewhere. And you can go ahead and download it. It's free. And that's it. Or send me an
Perfect.
email. If you have any questions, Yoseph, YOSEPH @relayfi.com. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, to recap, guys, we talked about our 3 pillars, which is people, process, and technology. We showed you how technology can be super amazing for the banking industry with Relay Financial, where us as accounting professionals, we got enough to do. We don't need to be spending 8 hours in a bank trying to get a delegate card. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being our guest. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I can't wait to do more of these chats. But yes, everyone, check out the playbook, first of all, because that's going to help you in 2021. Let's say goodbye to 2020 and let's get our stuff together for 2021. And hopefully you're going to make Relay Financial part of your FinTech family too. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jenny. Bye.
Hey, wasn't that video amazing? I hope you learned a couple of great tidbits. Listen, in the comments below, please feel free to let me know how this helped you today and what other types of pain points you're having in your business right now. We are total nerds here and more details. We love financial technology and we're always researching the top of the line solutions to make your life easier. And don't forget, subscribe below. Cheers, bye.